Is on deck?
In every class, there's always one joker who thinks that he's smarter than me. In this class, there happens to be you. Isn't it mayonnaise?
Hi, everyone. Count Floyd here, reminding you to watch this Saturday night at 11 o'clock for Monster Chiller Horror Theater. We got a scary one for you this week. It's that three-dimensional semi-classic Dr. Tongue's House of Cats.
Chris Scouser here with
Matt Howell.
On this episode of The First Run, Matt and I book a round trip back to Hollow Earth to check in on our good old buddy King Kong. Sorry, nope, just Kong. It's Godzilla X and multiplied by Kong New Empire. Not only, Matt, do we get a big box full of Kong, we get a bunch more giant apes, a baby Kong, and an ancient ice-breathing titan. And maybe if we're lucky, maybe Godzilla will show up too. From there on, we'll say, it's going to be the big releases in physical media, featuring your streaming and straight-to-DVD picks of the week. And then Matt and I are going to wrap up the show with a harrowing, atomic breath-worthy fill-in-the-blank game, TFR Libs, featuring the latest news about Scream, the MCU, and maybe more. Let's start everything off, though, with a clip from Godzilla and Kong, New Empire.
For centuries, there was harmony. The Titans were the guardians of nature, and the great apes became the protectors of humanity. We've discovered a signal. She can feel it. Kong, Godzilla, they can feel it too. Something is coming. Something even they're afraid of. You feel like going for a ride?
Thought you'd never ask.
Boy, Matt, you gotta love that Tom Holkenborg score. Or maybe you don't have to at all. Matt, what is Godzilla and Kong New Empire all about? And why did you love it?
And why did I love it? Well, all right. So way to lead off with a loaded question there. What it's essentially about is Kong is chilling down in the Hollow Earth, and Godzilla is chilling on the surface, and then never the twain shall meet, right? And Kong is on a search for his giant ape family, comes across a tribe of apes, but Godzilla senses that some kaiju are potentially coming up into his territory from the Hollow Earth, and he can't have that. So he has to get to himself to power level 100 before he goes down there and kicks some ass with Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you give me the Arnold, but this is how stupid this story is while this is all being put in here.
What's funny is I'm watching this thing, and I'm remembering watching the Monarch show.
Right.
Which, even though it had maybe a weak episode or two, was really good, really intricate, filled with interesting details and characters and things you really, almost get, dare I say, maybe emotionally invested in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the amusement park ride that is Godzilla and Kong New Empire. Now, I want to clarify that. It's a roller coaster ride, it is. But it's not It's not Disney. It's not Six Flags. It may not even be like Compounds. It's maybe more a little bit of Quasi. Okay. When the destruction hits, when the Titan fights come,
right,
it's good. It's entertaining. It's big. It's loud. It's boisterous. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. The struggle that this film has is when we're in our intimate moments, when we actually have the people.
Mm-hmm.
it's exposition showcase, and it's a real shame that I couldn't find any clips online. I had to use actually just a cut of the trailer, that because some of the line deliveries, or at least the exposition in this film, is just chef's kiss, otherworldly bad, because they're working backwards from stuff. So meaning like, all right, I want to have, this is how I'm sure these meetings went when they developed this film. We need to have like a scene where there's an anti-gravity fight amongst the kaiju. All right, so how do we come up with a reason for that? Well, I know. Well, say there's these weird two pyramids, and if they end up touching for some reason in the Hollow Earth, where there's both a ground above and below, if they end up touching in some capacity, then gravity is suspended, right? That just makes total sense because that's the law of nature in Hollow Earth.
Right.
And they do that like 3 or 4 times, where they come up with these just ridiculous reasons that just allow them to do something they want to do. But there's also kind of weird, drawn-out explanations that really don't make sense in any capacity. And there's a lot of that in this film. And it's, for me, either the absolute best or worst exposition ever. I'm not really sure which way to go. I'm not sure, Matt. Where do you come down with it?
Well, I guess, I mean, when you're sitting here talking about it, I mean, they're really leaning into the true roots of Godzilla. Because, let's be honest, I mean, 95% of those films, the plot makes absolutely zero sense. And they're really, like you said, just coming up with a reason to do what they want to do on screen, I want a giant robot that is one size at once normal man size, but can turn into a big giant kaiju robot. Well, let's just make that happen, right?
Exactly.
So, like, I guess on some level they're really just kind of leaning into the roots of Godzilla. Honestly, I'm with you. I was bored for a lot of this, and then when the kaiju stuff happens, I'm like, all right, I'm having fun, and then it comes to a screeching halt while we see Rebecca Hall and Dan Stevens, 2 generally wonderful actors that I enjoy their work, really slum it and try and do their best to deliver this stuff as compellingly as they can, and they just fail miserably. And I just kind of
Brian Tyree Henry as well. Same thing.
Yeah,
I like him a lot too. I mean, when I think about his performance in
if Beale Street Could Talk.
Yeah, Beale Street Could Talk. His performance in that is my real first experience with him, and I was blown out of the water by that cat.
Right.
But you see him in this delivering these just expositional, lines. It is just like, oh, good God. But here's the thing, Matt, about what I love about where we are. I think we are in the golden era of Godzilla. Because you get whichever Godzilla you want, you got. Either through last year into this year. Right? Because you had the Godzilla Minus Zero.
Right.
Last year. Fantastic film.
Yep.
Great special effects. And really brings a human ground level kind of pathos or whatever to that character, which we haven't really seen, I think, done as successfully since the first film, the original one, the Japanese version, not the U.S. version.
Right.
And then we have the Monarch show, which I think does a good job of fleshing out the history. So if you have your choice, and then you have Godzilla and Kong New Empire, which is a loving throwback to the crazy Godzilla stuff from when I grew up watching as a kid. So I got the best of all worlds, right? I get David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, and Gary Sharon all at the same time, right?
And this one's obviously Gary Sharon.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I would say
so.
what? -1 has got to be David
But I enjoy
Lee
it
Roth.
more than Van Halen 3, for sure.
Yeah, Monarch is Sammy Hagar, competent, but doesn't really, not the best work, but it's got its moments, right? And then this is, Gary Sharon. Kind of coming out of nowhere. Nobody asked for.
You know what? That was a bad reference from my part, because this is so much better than Van Halen 3 in any capacity. But yeah, no, it's another thing too. I laughed out loud, rolled my eyes, and loved all at the same time so much in this film. So not only do they get Dan Stevens as the world's best super vet, super veterinarian,
right?
But they create this gauntlet for Kong, just in case at some point he may need to supersize his punches. which also has healing abilities for him, which thankfully just happens to be needed. And just luck as luck would have it, they built the prototype, even though it was really expensive, and they happened to put it in Hollow Earth, even though the project was like in limbo or something. All these beautiful Deus Ex Machina, whatever it's called, Deus Ex Machina type stuff, Matt, where just the power of God, all this stuff is just happens to be exactly at the right place at the right time. And the whole film's like that. It has one of my favorite product placement scenes I can recall since the Transformers one with Mark Wahlberg, where the Bud Light truck gets hit and he takes the Bud Light and drinks it. When Rebecca Hall and her daughter get in the Volkswagen, we get that really beautiful shot, full body shot of the red Volkswagen SUV. Really nicely done, perfectly framed in the shot. And really, my only issue with this film, independent of the human element, is that Big G, he gets like 9 minutes of screen time.
Right.
I saw on Twitter some guy calculated like Godzilla's screen time since these Kong film, and I get the problem. I understand why.
Right. Because
Kong is able to, we're able to relate more to him, and I do think they do a good job too with Kong's. There's a long stretch of the film with there's no humans. And they do a good job of relating the story without any actual words between him and the other monkey kingdom and the little baby monkey guy and all that stuff, right? You understand completely what's happening, and it's all through just the artistry of CGI. And I think it's really well done. But I'm disappointed that my boy isn't in it. I'm a Godzilla guy, all right? I still think for me, Michael Dougherty's... the second film, what is it? King of the Monsters? I can't remember the full title of it now. Yeah. But we get up Rodan, you get all of them are in that, and it's just Godzilla kicking ass basically for 2 hours. All right. Here, 9 minutes, because he's more just a force of nature. You can't really have a human connected plot run through with Godzilla because he doesn't have the ability to make that human connection, I guess, that Kong does. So I get it. I'm just disappointed by it. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I mean, this is not... Ever since they introduced Kong, Kong can emote, and it's, he has intelligence and emotions.
Speech sign language?
Yeah, but Godzilla is a monster, right? He's alien, and that's why I like him better, because my favorite entries in any of these series is the ones where they take it a little more seriously, and Godzilla's a little more scary, and so are the monsters are kind of scary. Whereas when you kind of introduce Kong, they lean into the storytelling capabilities with the fact that he's got, emotions that, I don't know, it doesn't work as well for me. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but it just doesn't. And I agree with you. Again, to rip off The Simpsons, every time Godzilla wasn't on screen, I just was looking around saying, "Where's Godzilla?" And that's all I could do.
Yeah, it's sad. There's a couple cute moments, like he curls up like a cat inside the Coliseum.
Right.
And I like his powering up, how he's leeching off of all these powers because he knows something bad's about to happen. Because remember, as you heard the trailer, he's the defender of nature. Mm-hmm. And Kong is the defender of the humans there. But as he absorbs the power, and eventually he turns pink, which is fun, I guess, in a way too. And he doesn't turn pink, but he has the pink accents because of that. Anyway, neither here nor there. That's fine. And I just want to say again, Dan Stevens, man, I don't understand why this guy isn't a bigger star. Mm-hmm. Because he does all these different roles so well. He's great in The Guest. Everything he's in, I always really enjoy. It's one of those things where I just don't get it. Mm-hmm. Why? He's got the looks, he's got the personality, he has a ton of range. You would think he would be like a leading big A-list kind of, films, and his career is very successful. I just think he should be bigger.
Yeah. Well, I guess he just likes to choose what he likes to do, and he's fine with that.
Yeah. No, yeah, I guess you can't really. I don't know why I'm complaining about it, I guess, right? Dan's doing what he wants to do. Right. What did he just do that I thought was really fun, too, that I just watched him in something recently? What the heck was it? I'm going through his... he's in Abigail, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'm really excited about. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for that one. Where they, they lock the people in with the young ballerina girl. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What was he just in, Matt, that I really liked?
I don't know, Chris. He's one of those guys that just like pops up and you know, sometimes it takes you a minute to realize who it is.
Yeah. He was great in Eurovision Song Contest. I liked him a lot in that. Maybe is that what I'm thinking of? That might be what I'm thinking of. He was in Your Beloved the Boy and the Heron.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It must have been Eurovision Song Contest, I guess. I don't know. Either way, I'm done wasting your time. Matt, what are you going to give Godzilla and Kong?
Well, Chris, I feel like this is going to upset you because you seemed like you really enjoyed it. I'm happy for you. But I'm going to give it a C. Not enough Godzilla, too much Kong, way too much boring people.
Yeah, I have been going back and forth between a B- and a C+. And I'll just go with B- because I think when the fights come, they're pretty dang good. And I like the villains. I like the Ice Titan. And I like how they explain another just beautiful moment when this ancient Ice Titan is responsible for the prior Ice Age. I love just little crazy stuff like that. And this film is filled with it.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Godzilla and Kong Frozen Empire is currently playing in a theater near you, and it's just turn off your brain, kind of dumb, fun, stupid movie, you know?
Yeah.
It's still... I'm trying to think where I would rank it amongst all of these films. I don't think it's going to be terribly high. Where are we with this new run? So it's Godzilla 2014, which I think is good, except again, the human element is that it's just an absolute disaster.
Sure.
King of the Monsters is one, and then you have Kong Skull Island, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla... Well, Godzilla Minus One isn't part of this run, I don't think, right?
No.
So, I go King of the Monsters. Maybe I do Godzilla vs. Kong, and then Godzilla, and then Kong Skull Island. I don't know, I like Skull Island actually a lot, too. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that.
All right. You think
Maybe
about that and get back to
I'll
us.
rank that on my Letterboxd. Yeah, I can rank it. I got to update it. I haven't updated it in like a week because I got sick. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I'm fighting a bit of a head cold. All right. Feedback at thefirstrun.com. What do you think of Godzilla and Kong Frozen Empire? Sounds good. Matt, it's coming up on Physical Media this upcoming Tuesday. Being released in 4K. An Australian classic coming out from Criterion. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, you wouldn't have the time, I suppose, miss.
Miranda, your pretty little diamond watch.
Don't wear it anymore. Can't stand it ticking above my heart. If it were mine, I'd wear it always. Even in the bath. Would you, Mr. Hussey?
Stopped at 12. Never stopped before. Must be something magnetic.
Well after 2, I'd say. We'd better be careful. I promised Mrs. Appleyard I'd have you lot back at the college by 8.
Yeah, that didn't work out. Peter Weir's Picnic at Hanging Rock is being released in 4K by the Criterion Collection. I saw this years ago, and I absolutely loved it. It's almost has this kind of dreamlike feel to it. It's a gorgeous film, based on a true story, from what I understand, about a bunch of young women who go to a boarding school in Australia, and they go for a picnic at this volcanic kind of, place that had since, what do you call it, when it fossilizes or, I don't know.
Dormant? Extinct?
Sure, something. I don't know. And they disappear.
Okay.
And there's never any trace of them ever again.
Okay.
So, A Picnic at Hanging Rock is being released, as I said, on 4K this upcoming Tuesday, which is April 9th, Matt. What else is coming up?
Number 5!
Kino Lorber is putting out The Minus Man, which is a departure at the time for Owen Wilson, where he plays a serial killer who floats around the country and chooses his victims from people who complain about their lives. A brand new 2K restoration of that from The Inner Positive, and brand new audio commentary is included on that as well. Coming up next,
4!
Night Swim, which is based on the short film Night Swim, which is supposed to be actually pretty good. This big feature-length adaptation, from what I understand, is not quite so good, which is basically a haunted pool. And feature commentary with the co-writer-director Bryce McGuire. and then some making of featurettes and interviews included on that. This movie just came out in the theater, Matt, like a month or so ago.
Okay.
We did not catch up with it, but I got to admit, it didn't really look that engaging to me. But had your chance to pick it up if you liked it. What after 4? What comes after 4? 3. Oh, that's an old one. That's the wrong 3. Well, all right, we'll have to fix that in post, or not bother. Origin from Ava DuVernay is being released. It's the unspoken system that has shaped America and chronicles how lives today are defined by a hierarchy of human divisions. It's John Barenthal, and I'm blanking on the young woman's name who stars in it. They're an interracial couple. They kind of fall in love, and there's some strife amongst them, and it actually traces back through the history of race relations, I guess, in the planet. Some people said it feels more like a history class than it does a motion picture, but it's a big swing by Ava, and a lot of people really, really liked it. So I have to look into that. Next up, what is wrong? All our numbers are screwed up here.
Just leave it. Just roll with it.
Whew. Lisa Frankenstein, which we did a few weeks ago for the show, is being released. Feature commentary with director Zelda Williams, some 5 deleted scenes, a gag reel, and more. So if you like Lisa Frankenstein, now you can pick it up on Blu-ray. And then finally, is this one going to work?
There can be only one.
Yes, it does. Hirokazu Koreeda's Monster. One of the films I did not catch up with last year, really wanted to. The guy who did Shoplifters. A mother demands answers from her teacher when her son begins acting strangely. It's supposed to be really, really good. I have it on my list to watch, but now it's available on Blu-ray. Another 4K release, Matt, a couple other films. The 1976 version of King Kong with Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange is being released as part of a steelbook release. Shout Factory originally had the Blu-ray release. The rights expired, and the studio brought it back to release their own version in 4K in a steelbook. And what else do we have here? Meisak Do's The Roundup No Way Out, the third film in the Roundup series, is being released in 4K. Now, I haven't seen any of these 3 films. I understand this third one is the weakest of them, but the first 2 are supposed to be fantastic. I'm a big fan of his. My first exposure to him was on Train to Busan. He was the big, kind of hefty guy that kicked lots of butt. So I guess he's a big action star as well. So I've been dying to see these Roundup films. And then finally, Matt, your straight-to-DVD pick of the week is called Don't Go in the Effing Woods. A couple goes down in the woods. Well, excuse me. A couple gets down in the woods, Matt, while an axe maniac lurks in wait. So what I don't know if it's don't go effing in the woods or don't go in those effing woods.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Maybe it's both. It works on both levels.
There you go. Matt, what should we be streaming this week?
Well, you know what? Chris just talked about on our number 2 film of things coming out on physical media, Lisa Frankenstein. But let's say you haven't seen it and you don't know if you want to buy it and you really don't know if you want to listen to our podcast on it, our episode, and our recommendations or grades. Well, you can check it out for yourself if you're one of the few people who have Peacock. But if you have it, you can check it out there.
Why would you not want to listen to our episode about it?
Well, I guess I meant more like, maybe you just think you recognize us for the hacks that we are, and you want to make your own opinions, so you want to go watch it yourself.
I guess that makes sense. If you wanted to, it's episode 698, where we talk about Dune Part 2 as well. And I want to see, we've been getting some numbers on the YouTube channel. It was really funny. I was looking at the numbers, and our Love Lies Bleeding episode did exceptionally well. Our Ghostbusters Frozen Empire episode, not so much.
Yeah, well,
no real engagement on that one. You think the Roadhouse may help too, but nope. So I wanted to ask you, Matt, have you watched your Aliens 4K yet? Because I've watched mine.
Okay.
And I want to tell you, folks, any concerns I had have been dashed away.
Awesome.
It looks absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
I was really blown away by the transfer and the sound as well. It sounds and looks the best I have ever seen it.
Interesting.
So I'm really excited about it. So you're going to want to, Matt, check that out as soon as possible.
All right. Have you watched Your True Lies yet? I haven't watched that yet either.
No, all I've watched is the Aliens. I have my I have a couple things I need to catch up with too. Like I picked up my Dr. Terror's House of Horrors 4K from Vinegar from Shelby of Viper Video today.
Okay.
It's the first, I believe, Amicus anthology horror film that they made.
Okay.
It's probably the weakest for me, though I haven't seen Torture Garden yet. That's the one I have not seen. But I'm really anxious to watch it in 4K. And then Shelby there at Viper Video, Matt, he wants me to watch this film so badly that he let me just take it. I have to bring it back to him.
Right.
But he said, I just want you to watch it. It's called The Necrophiles.
Oh,
and
wow.
It is really bizarre, right? It's here. Let me read it. What he says. And often referenced a notoriously underground classic for the last 25 years, this American video nasty is finally available for the first time on Blu-ray. A recently executed serial killer rises from the grave as a flesh-eating zombie maniac. 2 disturbed Seattle cops, a pair of bumbling satanic cult members, and a flying demon baby try to stop the lust-crazed ghoul before he can kill again. And I was there, and then somebody else was in the store too, and they're saying, oh man, you gotta watch this film. It's absolutely crazy. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. Just watch the trailer. And I'm like, no, I want to go in as cold as possible. Mm-hmm. So he let me take it home to watch. So I will report back on The Necrophiles maybe next week. I don't know. Part of me does not want to watch this film in any capacity, but we'll see. Yeah. So that's it for me, I think, this week so far.
All right. Fantastic.
All right. Let's wrap up the show, Matt, and spend a few minutes with our favorite TFR Libs game, where we're going to go ahead and fill in the blanks. And here's a clip from one of mine that I can't decide. I think I'm really excited about it, and I'm also very, very concerned, because it's one of my favorite films. So we'll talk about that next.
Well, now what's it to be, Lord? Another widow? How many's it been? 6? 12? I just remembered. You say the word, Lord. I'm on my way. You always send me money to go forth and preach your word. A widow with a little wad of bills hid away in a sugar bowl. Lord, I am tired. Sometimes I wonder if you really understand.
Matt, the only film Charles Laughton ever directed, The Night of the Hunter, featuring maybe my favorite Robert Mitchum performance, along with Shelley Winters. It's being remade by Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, whose most recent film was The Black Phone, which I think both you and I thought was okay.
Right.
Not really great.
Right.
Supposedly they're doing a new adaptation, though, of the original novel, not so much a remake of the film.
Okay.
And from what I understand, the novel, it's a noir, obviously, but it's also supposed to be a lot darker than the Laughton film was.
Okay.
Laughton's film, if you've never seen Night of the Hunter, folks, buy it, rent it, whatever the case may be, but see it as soon as you can. There is this, I think I've used this term already this week, but this dreamlike, ethereal quality to it that is just, it just sticks with you. Some of his directorial choices, just as an artist, it made me really sad that he never directed another film. I mean, it is a beautiful, disturbing film, particularly the fact that, this thing was made in 1955. It's very heavy, very dark, and Mitchum, again, as I said, is fantastic in it. So, I don't know, Matt. So Scott Derrickson and Robert Cargill tackling the new adaptation of Night of the Hunter is blank.
Oh, boy. I guess concerning? Like, I'm not familiar with the source material, so I don't know, like, how dark is dark. Like, is this like a Jim Thompson Killer Inside Me type thing? Like, I don't know if I'm up for something like that, so I guess we'll have to see. But I think, it's whenever you kind of remake these films, you're going to get inevitably some kind of unfavorable comparison to the original, the thing that came before, especially with something that's so well respected, right? So it's a swing. We'll see what happens.
I mean, yeah, how do you escape that? I know they'll say it's an adaptation of the book, but people, especially who aren't in the know, are just going to think it out as a remake. And I said, we've always said too, we're all for remaking bad films and get them right this time.
Right.
But Night of the Hunter, man, oof, it's one of the first like classic films I ever saw. I remember hearing how good it was and watching it on TCM and just being absolutely blown away by it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, as I say, I usually say cautiously pessimistic, but So them making it is, I'm going to say interesting. It's going to be interesting because I think they have the ability, if the stars align, to make something truly memorable. I'm a little apprehensive, but I will say I have a tempered potential optimism that this could be really interesting. Since, like you said, I'm not familiar with the source material either. Right. So maybe there's a lot more to mine and then something a lot more interesting to do with it. So we'll see. We'll see. What do you got for me?
All right. So in honor of our latest film in the Godzilla franchise and knowing what nerds we are overall, I wanted you to tell me this. Besides the first one, the best Godzilla film in the Showa era is blank.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not entirely sure. Hold on, I got to pull up a list of all of them because I'm not entirely up on all the names.
Sure. Fair enough.
I mean, it's going to be the one. It's the one with, Ghidorah. For me, that's always the one. The three-headed monster. That it's Ghidorah or All Monsters Attack is really good too, but it's ridiculous. So independent of the first one, I don't know. Raids Again though is really good too. So it'd be like Mothra, Raids Again, and Ghidorah. I guess would be my finalists.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Ghidorah because it's really the first time that he becomes like the champion of Earth.
Gotcha. Yeah, fair. All right.
So I'll go with Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think it might be the last in the Showa era, the Terror of Mechagodzilla, the one that comes after the original one. It's got much of a darker vibe, much different vibe than some of the ones before it. But my ridiculous answer, just because I hold a soft spot for it for many, many different reasons, is of course Godzilla versus Megalon, which is one of the worst ones. But at the same time, it's because of that, it's one of my favorite ones. And then when you also top in an excellent entry in Mystery Science Theater 3000, it really holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite MST3K episodes, Godzilla vs. Megalon. It's I was so upset when they pulled that DVD set.
I know.
And there was a local store here that somebody had traded it in, and like I was hoping they didn't know what they had because they had just had it, and I'm like, oh, I'll buy that for you.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, we got to run it through. See, what it's worth first. And I'm like, shit. All right. Because that one was going for diligence. Like $200 or something at the time. Easy.
Yeah.
So I've thankfully was able to obtain a copy of that episode digitally, we'll say.
Okay.
Because you can't get it.
You know what? I don't feel bad about obtaining things digitally if it's out of print. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, you're not giving money to the creators anyway. You're just giving money to somebody who happened to be lucky enough to have a copy that they're going to pocket the extra money themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So, but no, that is a good pick. That Criterion set was out of print, I think, for a little while. Mm-hmm. But they must have reobtained the rights because you can buy it again.
Gotcha.
And if you haven't, folks, I would suggest you do because it's got all those films and it's a beautiful little set. And that's a good one, Matt. All right, Matt. Florence Pugh Instagrammed some little walking tour of her Thunderbolts film.
Oh.
Saying like, oh, I can't show you this, I can't show you that, and she like things off in the distance and walk by something really fast, and all that kind of thing. So, but let me ask you, Matt. Florence Pugh's so she instituted some scenes from Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts will blank the MCU.
Thunderbolts will, I would say, underwhelm the MCU because I don't really see I like the people that are going to be in this. I like Florence Pugh. I just don't see how it's really going to do anything to like turn this ship around. I think the thing that's going to turn this ship around, is I think Secret Wars. I think really that's going to this is the future of this is going to live or die on that.
What Secret Wars were we going to get though?
I don't know.
We're not getting the Jim Shooter one, right? We'd be getting the later one.
I don't know. That's a good question. If I had to guess, it's going to be a combination of the two.
Okay.
They're probably going to blend the two together. But I guess the of course, Raimi is saying nothing, but the rumor is that he's gonna be on tap to direct it. Now he's claiming nobody's talked to him about it or anything like that, and he would love to do it or whatever. But that's the rumor that's floating around right now.
That would be interesting. So, yeah, the problem is just a lot of the big characters are gone now.
Yeah,
I think is what they've been struggling with.
Right.
That's why they're so excited, I guess, about what X-Men and the Fantastic Four, particularly Doctor Doom, I think is really going to help. So for me, Thunderbolts will allow the MCU to tread water,
right,
a little longer.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't think it's going to be the big savior of anything. I know Harrison Ford is supposedly in this film as well.
Okay.
I think he's supposed to be General Ross, I think, in this. I don't know if he's going to turn into Red Hulk or not. That's one of the potential rumors as well.
Interesting.
I don't know how, but Olga Kurylenko's coming back as Taskmaster. So maybe they could do something better with her than they did in that GD awful Black Widow film.
Please,
but
I hope so.
I don't know. We'll see. And then the Sentry is going to be in this too. And if I remember correctly, isn't the Sentry like a bad guy at one point? Like he's a superhero and something happens and he snaps, he kills a bunch of people and they wipe his memory and of his past and his powers or something like that.
I think that's right. Man, I haven't thought about the Sentry in forever.
Yeah, I don't know. Same here, obviously. So, good times. All right, we'll see. What do you got?
All right. So, Collider released a list of what they considered their, I think it was like a weird number, like 18 maybe, of perfect sci-fi films. So, I want to know, Chris, what to you, or I should say this, the perfect sci-fi film is blank.
Okay. Wow. I'd be curious to see what's on their list. But
well, I'll tell you what the number one is after we give our answer. I don't want to influence you, so
I feel like I'm going to forget something really obvious is the problem because I'm all hopped up on cold medicine.
It's the best time to come up with an answer, Chris.
Like my gut says Blade Runner because it's just heady enough as well,
Right.
And I love the future, but still retro, dilapidated kind of society feel of it. That's why I love Aliens so much. But I'm sure Aliens on the list, but I think that's still always a haunted house movie in space more than it is a science fiction film.
Sure.
Then, for all its flaws, I really enjoy Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Wow. That is, I mean, if you had said like Star Trek 2, I would have been like, okay, yeah, I can see that, but
I don't consider that what Star Trek: The Motion Picture is more science fiction film than Star Trek 2.
Right.
Wrath of Khan is like a swashbuckling adventure film that happens to take place in space.
Oh, okay. I mean, we can say
I think the motion picture is vintage. I mean, Star Trek Motion Picture is a Star Trek episode for 2+ hours.
Right, but we're saying the perfect film. Is it a good one? No, it's not.
No, but it's more representational for me of a science fiction film than Star Trek 2 is.
Sure.
What about RoboCop? Is that a science fiction film?
So then you start splitting hairs, right? So if we're saying like genres, like, Aliens really a horror film kind of thing, like I think RoboCop, yes, but is it more action film than it is science fiction film? Because it would be up there. RoboCop is arguably, but I would say then if I'm going to say that, then I would say Aliens would have to be my favorite science fiction film, but it's really more of an action film kind of thing.
All right, I'll just stick because I'm not thinking of anything else. I'll say Blade Runner.
Okay, that is a perfectly good answer. My answer, weirdly, I think is a pure science fiction film coupled with the fact that it is just a fantastic film is going to be The Iron Giant. I think is the perfect science fiction film. But their answer was, of course, a layup, and I'm surprised you didn't think of it as their answer was 2001 is the perfect science fiction film.
Of course. See, I know I was going to be embarrassed by this.
But I'm glad you thought outside the box. Like you kind of, it was so obvious that you just like walked around it without even thinking about it.
You're right. It is 2001. Mm-hmm. It's hands down 2001. I would still have Blade Runner in my top 5. I want to think about what are the top 5. Do you have it readily available?
Yeah. Let me see.
So I feel like it would, but yeah, it's absolutely. God, I am an idiot. It is 2001. That's such a beautiful film and really ponder. Yeah, no, when it comes to science, because the thing too, if I want to be a hair splitter again, Blade Runner is a neo noir in the future with science fiction, and hell, even Highlander you could say is a science fiction film in a way, right? Or is it more fantasy? Well, I don't know. God, Chris, make it more complicated. Why don't you?
All right, so the top 5 on this list. You ready?
Yep.
It's actually a list of 13, so weird. So number 5 was T2.
Okay. Okay.
Number 4 was Star Wars.
Yeah.
New Hope.
Sure.
Number 3, Empire Strikes Back. 2 was weirdly Hard to Be a God from 2013. And
I've heard that's very good.
I've heard it's very good too, but I've never seen it, so I can't opine on it.
Yeah.
And the number 1 was 2001.
So Blade Runner wasn't even in the top 5, huh?
It was not. I don't even think it's on. I don't even think it's on. Let me flip through it here. I don't even know. So Solaris is 6.
Oh yeah, how did I forget Solaris too?
Clockwork Orange was 7.
Yeah.
Wall-E was 8.
Oh, I love you, Wall-E.
Close Encounters 9.
Yep.
50s version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers was 10.
Good one.
Matrix was 11. Alien 12, and then Stalker 13.
All right. I can't disagree with that list. But I think I would have Blade Runner. I'd probably swap out Blade Runner for at least Matrix, I think. Well, all right. You know what? That's a good list. I can't really. You can make an argument for any one of those. That is odd to me that Blade Runner isn't even in the top 13, though.
Yeah, that is weird.
Okay, weird. All right, what do I got left, Matt? Oh. This is interesting. We're going to get into little controversial waters here, Matt. So you can answer this however you choose. Or, no, I'm not going to let you pass. You can just come up with you can come up with a pass in your answer.
Okay.
Neve Campbell's coming back for Scream 7. Now Courtney Cox is as well, potentially.
Okay.
So Scream 7 will be blank, or is blank, however you want to.
Okay, so...
Now, are you familiar with what's going on and why?
Right, so I know Jenna Ortega dropped out.
Scheduling issues, supposedly.
With scheduling issues. And they dropped the main actress, who I'm forgetting her name. If you have it handy, I would appreciate that.
Melissa Barrera.
Yeah, Melissa Barrera, thank you. They dropped her because of controversial statements she made. Is that what?
I guess that's where the controversy comes in.
Yeah.
Is how controversial were they? She basically was protesting or speaking out about Palestinian lives.
Okay, sure.
And how they need support and food and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And saying that basically, I think she may even said Israel is committing a genocide. And this was
early on.
Months ago.
Right. Early on in the genocide. But continue.
Yep.
Right. Honestly, I don't know what they're doing here. Like, I liked the kind of first Scream requel entry well enough. I thought that was pretty good. This last one, I could take or leave it. It has its moments, but it's not particularly good. I was not really stoked for, this next entry, but I think just going to the well of bringing back Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox when you've gotten rid of Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, who are kind of keeping this thing afloat. I don't know what they're going to be doing here. I'm kind of confused. So, confused? Can I put it in confused? Confusing? I forgot how you worded the question.
Yeah, it's just Scream 7 will be blank.
Confusing, yeah. A mess.
I'm gonna say
no good, really bad for you. Not good. Believe me, not good.
I'm disappointed, really. Maybe I would have sat on it for a while or just let the franchise reboot. Sure. Like they're doing with Bond, where they're just being super quiet about everything. They want everything to die down for a while. I think the firing of Barrera was a mistake, and it's really disappointing. And part of me doesn't even want to see this next film, because of the decisions that they've made on this. It's really disappointing. So, it's more like I don't even care at this point.
Yeah,
with this, I'm done. The franchise itself, outside of the first, I think even 2 films, maybe you can make an argument with a third.
Yeah,
nothing's really blown me away since. And I am so tired of the trope that even made this series successful to begin with.
Right.
With the rules.
Right.
And I listen. I enjoy those first two films a lot, and you got to appreciate how much I do not care for Jamie Kennedy in any capacity.
Right.
I mean, he's an anathema to me. I see him on screen, I'm basically close to turning it off, whatever it is, and I'm able to push through because of that. How much I like that first film. So yeah, I just don't care. I'm done. Really, I may be done with this franchise. We'll see when the film comes around. I don't know. I'll see if my moral righteousness has died down by that time when it actually comes out or not. Who knows? But right now, I have no plans on seeing it. I'm really disappointed in it.
You know what? I stand behind that. If for no other reason that I don't particularly care for this franchise outside the first one. So
yeah, there you go. Any more? What do you got?
Yeah, I got one more. So I was reading this article about TV writer lamenting about how hard it is to get work for TV writers. That basically there's no shows anymore, and especially like on network TV, there's no really scripted dramas, and then the stuff that's even on or scripted show, I should say, and even on like the streamers, not a ton of new scripted content, right? So it just got me thinking, and my question to you is this. The first major streamer to fall or go under will be blank.
Oh, that's interesting. My gut says, well, what's a major streamer to you, right?
All right, so I think
not like
it's
Screambox or...
No. I would
You're
say...
talking like Paramount Plus and Hulu.
Yeah, I would say you got your tier ones. You know, you got your Netflix, your Hulu, your Amazon, your Prime Video. Those are kind of like your top tier ones, right? And then you've got like your secondary ones that are hanging in there: Apple Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, things like that. After that, I think you get into really niche territory, whereas any of those could go at any time. Like, as much as I love Shudder, they're like a bad day away from shutting their doors at any given time. So
yeah, and you have stuff like AMC Plus too, right? Which I guess is the same company, right?
Right.
And I know I've been getting now pop-up ads for people trying to do a class action suit against Criterion.
Oh, really?
The Criterion channel. Supposedly they sold people's data without telling them they were going to do that.
Wow. All right, so let me put it this way. So these are, I'll add a fourth to the top streamers. Of these four, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or Max. Which one of those is going to be the first to shut down?
Out of those,
yeah,
I would probably go with Max, given Zaslav's mismanagement and misunderstanding of what people want.
Sure.
I think that, though, is going off of the assumption that I understand what people want. Because there's a reason why people seem to love reality TV shows so much, and he seems to be leaning more into that than he is some other stuff. So I could be wrong. I mean, my initial answer was going to be Paramount Plus.
Okay.
I feel like they're right on the edge, but I think they're trying to join up with... There's like merger talks between them and somebody else. I can't remember who now.
Apple Plus.
Is it Apple?
Yeah.
Oh, Apple would just buy them then. What about you?
Yeah.
We've been talking about mergers. Why not just buy CBS and Paramount at that point?
Yeah.
They got money to burn. But, yeah, if I had to choose one of those, it would be Max would topple and they'd rebrand in some capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I
Or get bought somebody, or Zazzle would just sell off all the Warner Brothers property stuff to Apple or somebody else, for all I know.
Yeah. So I think I agree with you. I think it would be Max. But interestingly enough, my two dark horses are this. So one, obviously Netflix is always in its kind of current fight. I mean, it's a big, it's got the big lion's share of the market, but at the same time, they're always struggling from other services and other studios taking away the content and not letting them have it. Mm-hmm. So that's I could see that being their demise. But I honestly, the other thing I can think of, well, I don't think it'll ever shut its doors, but I could see Prime Video basically abandoning original content. So no shows, no movies that are, and just being like just a straight up repository for like existing properties just because they can, but not feeding any more money into it, for new development.
Well, they just, because 2 years ago, a year ago, they bought the MGM's stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I can't really think of that many of their original stuff that is really blown up, right? The Lord of the Rings show is doing horrible numbers, right? Like it.
Yeah, so the only things I can think of that did really well in certain circles is The Boys and Invincible, that Robert Kirkman cartoon. Both of those were, pretty well received. They are really good. They are really, really good. But you're right, I can't think of much else that has really kind of grabbed anybody.
Yeah, a lot of their films too, haven't really done that well either. So.
But they're more like buying films that have been shelved. They're just like, hey, I will distribute it if you just sell it to us on the cheap, kind of thing.
I don't know. Yeah, there's so many different things wrong, I think, with each of them. I wonder if we're just going to the point though where a couple of them all will just merge. Mm-hmm. Like Netflix will merge with, I don't know, like Peacock, and then Amazon would. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Or at least offer some deals where you get both of them for like a discounted price.
Right.
I'm curious to see what Prime's doing too in regards to their new subscription service without commercials. You got to pay another $3-4 a month to not have commercials on anything now on Prime.
Okay.
I'm wondering what the numbers of that have been, if there's been a lot of takers on that or not.
See, Prime is insidious because everybody has Amazon Prime, but that's really not. It's for the free shipping and stuff like that. It's not for really the TV. It's just like a secondary thing. So I don't think a lot of people will buy it, to be quite honest with you.
I think I don't watch that much stuff on Prime. I have an Amazon membership because of A, the 2-day free shipping, and B, my membership pays for itself by my Whole Foods discount every year. Like I've paid for it basically 3-4 months into the year. It's paid for.
Yep, same.
So, yeah, I don't know, because we have one of those big super Whole Foods down here.
I know, fancy.
We're a big fancy city here in Tampa. Interesting. I'll have to see if anything shakes out in the near future. All right. What do you think, folks? Those are your fill in the blanks for this episode or this time. How would you fill those blanks in? Hopefully relatively cleanly. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, I am unmoored about next week. Okay. I don't know what to do.
Okay.
So take a look at the calendar and tell me what's happening.
All right. So on the docket is Monkey Man, the latest film from Dev Patel, and it looks wild.
His directorial debut.
Yeah, that as well. The directorial debut from Dev Patel, and it looks pretty crazy. And it looks like it might be right up our alley. But then we've also got The First Omen, which is slated in tentatively as the second film. It says First Omen ?
So here's the thing. I was going to avoid The First Omen, maybe catch up with it afterwards when it hits digitally.
Sure.
I've been, from people I trust and follow on Twitter and the social medias, they have been raving about this film. I'm really surprised by that.
Me too.
So now I feel like, man, maybe I do need that. And I still haven't seen Immaculate, which I really want to watch as well. But I think at this point, it's going down to 2 screenings a day as of this weekend. So I think that'll be it. I'll have to wait for that. Though I think there's a pre-sale for the Blu-ray on that, which I think is May.
Okay.
So I think won't be too long a wait for streaming as well. So that'll probably have a quick turnaround time. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about I'm really shocked by the massive praise I've been hearing for The First Omen. So
interesting. All right. Well, then maybe we do have to watch it. Maybe.
I'll have to see.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you can check us out at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Boy, I'll get there. Just search for The First Run. Eventually you'll find us. Head over to Apple Podcasts. Give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. And go over to thefirstrun.com. You can find archives of all the old shows. You see the report card and more. And I guess that'll be it. Right? Sound good? Sound good. All right. So we want to thank everybody for listening. As always, take care of yourselves. We love you very, very much. And we'll see you soon. Take care.
Leaning on the everlasting arms. Children, children, children.